Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is M.Farhan Desmi and my student ID is 1711011018, and I will read the article with the title The Ancient History of Bitcoin. In the 1920s, a Florida citrus grower named William Howey hit on a way to raise money from investors. He would sell them strips of land he grows and tend the trees on their behalf, giving them a share of the profit after the harvest. The transaction was presented as an ordinary sale of real estate, but for practical purpose, the buyers had become shareholders in his farm. After Howey died in 1938, the then new U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission sought an injunction against his company to stop the sales. In 1946, the Supreme Court ruled that Howey's contracts should have been registered with the SEC as securities, essentially shares of stock. The court said that what matters is the substance of a transaction, not its form. If it waddles like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Keep that wisdom in mind the next time some bluffer tries to dazzle you with complicated story about cryptocurrency. When it comes to understanding new technologies, focus on what they do, not how they do it. Government and policymakers like investors have struggled to wrap their mind around cryptocurrency. The duration of Bitcoin and the like can cause speculators to make and lose fortunes. I don't really see what the actual true underlying value of some of this cryptocurrency actually is in practice. Federal Reserve Bank of New York President William Dudley said on 22 February, "US merged a member of the European Central Bank Executive Board like them in 8 February. Speech to the will of the wisps, a malignant creature that dwelt in marshes, and lured travelers to their untimely death and watery grave." This is when history can be a guide. Cryptographic money may be new, but money itself is as old as civilization. It's taken the form of beads, barley, tobacco, cowrie shells, and even giant stone discs like the Great Ray of Yap in the South Pacific. Experience with other kinds of money hints that the volatility in the value of cryptocurrency may be incurable, something that could be a fatal flaw for their use as a medium of exchange. Jesus Fernandez Villaverde, an economist at the University of Pennsylvania, called himself cryptocurrency skeptic. He argues that today's profusion of exotically named tokens, more than 1,500 have been issued, resemble the 19th century heyday of pre-banking, when commercial banks issued their own private label monies in many countries, including Australia, Sweden, Switzerland, the UK, and the US. In Scotland, the era of free banking lasted for more than a century until it was suppressed by the British Parliament in 1845. During that time, Scotland went from poor to nearly as rich as England. There's one crucial difference between then and now, though Fernandez Villaverde said. It has nothing to do with high-speed computing. The difference is that the supply of the currency could be managed. Scottish Bank had strong incentive to build public confidence in stability of their currency, and they calibrated their supply to demand. In contrast, the libertarian appeal of cryptocurrency is that they cannot be controlled by anybody, even their issuers. There's nothing and no one to anchor their value. True, there's cap on the number of Bitcoin that can ever be produced, which is supposed to protect it from hyperinflation, but the chaotic ups and downs in price show that it's vulnerable to speculative inflation and deflation. Another illuminating precedent of cryptocurrency is the famous economist story of the Capitol Hill Babysitting Cooperative, which was founded in the late 1950s. Members pay other parents to take care of their kids using script, private money that they earn by taking care of other people's kids. That's similar to the way miners create and earn Bitcoin by using computer. The co-op nearly fell apart in the 1970s because families were hoarding script to make sure they could afford babysitter when they needed one. It was revived when the co-op printed more script to take away incentive to hoard. Cryptocurrency are equally vulnerable to market failure, but there's no scope for beneficial intervention to match supply and demand, as there is with an ordinary currency managed by competent central bank, says Fernandez Villaverde. So far, this has been about cryptocurrency as money, but a lot of the tokens are not intended to be used as alternative to dollar, euros, or yen. They have narrower function or special purpose digital companies. People who buy them are betting that the using company will succeed. In other words, as in case of William Howe's Orange Group, buyer effectively acquiring piece of a business. It's since substance rather than form that matter. It would seem that this initial coin offering should be registered as securities and regulated accordingly. SAC Chairman Jay Clayton argued that argued just that last year, citing that Supreme Court case, simply calling something a currency or a currency-based product does not mean that it's not a security. He wrote in statement of his personal belief on 11 December. A romantic view persists in some circles that cryptocurrency are the vanguard of new era in which government become less and less important. Legislature unnecessary. Courts, why bother with them when every contract can be indelibly recorded on the blockchain? The digital ledger that make cryptocurrency possible? Well, sure, except people have been trying to create an impeccable record pretty much forever, with limited success. As early as 2340 BC, the king of Ebla in modern-day Syria sent a diplomatic letter to the king of Hamazi that was like a blockchain. According to a 2017 article in Ledger, a journal devoted to cryptocurrency research by Chris Berg, a postdoctoral fellow at RMIT University in Melbourne, writes Berg, both blockchain protocol and diplomatic protocol raise the cost of opportunistic behavior through a combination of permanent record of past dealing, public and ritualistic verification of transactions, and game theoretic mechanism of reciprocity. Maybe blockchain really is a foolproof record of transaction and promises at its supporters' content. But experience has taught us that it's impossible to make anything foolproof because fools are so ingenious, as are crooks, and no matter how strong a contract you can write, people will find a way to renegotiate. There's even term hard work for what crypto types do to fix a problem when the system that's supposedly on autopilot doesn't evolve the way they think it should be because a programming error, a hack, or someone's change of mind. With apologies to libertarians and anarchists, the best hope for cryptocurrency is strong regulation that creates public confidence by weeding out crooks and posers. In the 1970s, the economist George Akerlof published a paper called The Market for Lemon that explained how the market for used cars breaks down if people cannot tell which cars are clunkers. Afraid of being cheated, they won't pay very much, so sellers of good cars will withdraw them from the market, leaving only lemons on the lot. Regulation indulges in the interest of legit used car dealer and legit cryptocurrency issuer as well. To quote Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun. Peter Coy with Matthew Lissings and Olga Karif.